Hello, everyone. My name is Nakisha Clay, and this is my lab foods demonstration project for Family and Consumer Science 5007 online, which is teaching food and nutrition in family and consumer science. So, I decided that I will start my video out with just talk to you guys for a few minutes, and then I will end up in the kitchen, which, like I said, we got plenty of time. It's 45 minutes, so I'll talk to you guys for a little bit, go through my lesson plan, and just give you an idea and maybe help you understand what I was going for here. So what I was going for was something that could definitely teach our kids but stick with them, also be fun, and also let me share a little bit of myself with my classroom as well, because this recipe is something that everyone calls me for. It's a honey bun cake. They love this cake. Most of the time I have to make two, or like I said, I have to be cautious because I do have a few people in my family with the nut allergy. So sometimes we have to remove nuts, or sometimes I just have to label and do another cake for the people with the nut allergy, because I have a request for nuts as well. So at the end of the day, this cake is really good. It's not made from scratch like a lot of people think. It is made with the aid of my girl, Betty Crocker. I love her so much. I feel like Betty Crocker, this is good cake mix, along with Duncan Hines as well. To be honest, I don't do Pillsbury as much. I don't have anything against it, but I haven't really tried it. These are really my two favorite, Betty Crocker's and Duncan. But I went ahead and went with Betty Crocker because it's her recipe. And I found it on the bottom of the box probably somewhere about 12 some years ago, because it was when I was in high school, and it had to be around the year of 2005 through 2007. And on the bottom of this box, it was a recipe for a honey bun cake, and it looked delicious. And I was like, I wouldn't mind making that. I should try it. And me and my homegirl tried it, and we have loved it forever. She makes it for her family. I make it for my family. And it's really simple. It may sound hard, but it's not as hard. It's just really understanding what my lesson is all about. Understanding methods for food preparation and remembering recipe parts and sources. So you will be able to really get through this recipe. It'll be a tasty treat, reward, and a great way to learn the lesson. So this is for a foods class that will probably be kids from the age groups within the 9th grade to the 12th. And this unit was food preparation processes and methods. I prepared this lesson for about 20 students, because I hear that 20 students usually falls within, is really about the maximum number you can have in a classroom that does such thing like sewing or cooking, because we want to keep safety first. You don't want to be overcrowded. You want to be able to keep an eye on everyone and remind them to keep safety first. So that's the main thing. I talked a little bit about my students in the beginning, and I want to share some of my objectives. My objectives were students will be able to recognize and distinguish parts and sources of a recipe. Students will be able to follow and prepare a recipe. Students will be able to identify ingredients that are common allergies and alternate if needed. So important for this lesson as well, because this cake has the addition of pecans. And like I said, I will talk to you more and more about those things as I actually start to do the demonstration with the cake. Excuse me. Okay, when I first started off, I thought about the area around here, which I wouldn't mind teaching in this area that I'm from. I lived here all my life. But most of them have 90-minute classes, which is probably about 4 blocks a day. And because this cake has kind of a lenient, the directions time is not lenient. It's really over. I have never took the amount of time they gave to prep this. I've never took the amount of time to bake my cake as they gave, but that's the only flaw that I find in the recipe. Now, I also know it's something that stuck out to other people, because when you look on the actual website, there's a comment from a grandmother, who stated that it only took 35 minutes to cook mine. And I could feel her on that. And what it seems like is grandmom's always right, because it's never took me quite 44 minutes or more to cook this cake. It's always been about 30 to 35 minutes. Now, that is something that could be left within one group, so they could have more of a drier and darker brown cake to show the differences in times. But I hate to waste a good cake, and this probably wouldn't be the best lesson for that anyway. But so I probably would most likely tell my kids that somewhere between 30 to 35 minutes, you need to start checking your cakes, and we'll do like the toothpick test, fork test, where you insert it in and to make sure that it comes back out clean. It's done. If it's little cake crumbs stuck to it, it needs to go back in. It's not finished. So I probably would most likely demonstrate that at the end of mine, because I always do that before I add icing. This is actually a cake that I usually add icing while it's hot, because it's better. I poke holes all in it and kind of let the icing run down in it, and it's even sweeter. And oh my God, we love icing. So that's how I'm going to do that. Going back to my lesson plan, I'm going to start out with probably a bell ringer or anything, which this would be a good idea for like the substitute. I really wouldn't want my substitute to do the actual lab with my students where they cook the cake. But there's plenty of work that can be done that's already going to be done, whether it's assigned as homework or like I'm trying to say, seen in another part of the class. So like I said, it's more of how should I put it? More of like paperwork and classroom work that if a substitute was to come in. So we'll start out with like a PowerPoint, which this thing may have to be 2 days, because I was thinking that we would do like the PowerPoint, the bell ringer, the FDA website, some of the worksheets all the day before, and the measuring a day before, and put those ingredients and store them as needed, safely aside for the next day. The next day when you come in, you won't have to measure all your ingredients. You just have to basically dump them, mix them, and layer it in the pan as and bake. And we'll be waiting on that to do, like the performance at the end, and just taste everything and go over everything. But for a substitute, she may, like I said, will come in and do our bell ringer, which will ask the students about have they ever cooked a recipe before, and if they do know one, to write down the ingredients, write down the steps. Then at the end, to find the correct recipe of what they were, their favorite dish was, or whatever dish they chose, and to compare them, see if they missed anything with something different. And I think this will help them through the comparison to see how important it is to have accurate recipe when you're cooking. It happens all the time, even with me myself. I know a lot of recipes by heart, but there are some recipes I still like to look up and go over or whatnot. Understanding recipe codes is a worksheet that I gave for homework, but like I said, it can be done in class during that day. If we were having substitute assessments, I do have a formative and a summative assessment. The formative assessment could also be given at the end or portion of the class, or the second day of the class. It doesn't matter. It's shorter than the real assessment or whatnot. And then supplemental activities, which the supplemental activities, the FDA website, which tells you all about food allergies. What are some of the most common ones? What are the symptoms when someone is having a allergic reaction from the food? What are some steps and treatments that we need to take next? And I think these are all good things for students to know, as well as adult people to know when it comes to food, because something that you love can also be deadly. And there are some statistics from there that they will see once again on the summative assessment, because it's important. I think they need to know. We often think of food as something to share with our family and our friends, but we definitely want to make sure we go the extra mile to make sure we never harm anyone. So that's just important, as the safety of washing our hands and keeping our environment and everything clean. And I want them to know that. or whatnot. And then the plan B, which is also for the substitute, is there's a video that is quite viral now. It's been going around on Facebook. It can also be found on YouTube, and I shared the link. It is made up. It's a song about a recipe, and it is made. I thought I listed this guy's names here, but I know he's somewhere in the credits if I did not list him in this part. But he made this song. If I'm not sure, I think his name is Brandon. But he made a song about how to cook lasagna, which I found very neat and funny, entertaining, because within our PowerPoint there is a conversion table about how to convert or to adjust the ingredients for miracle lasagna. But this time it's a guy who was teaching you how to cook lasagna, and he made a song for it. And I thought this was awesome because it kind of attains to like the whole dancing thing and the hip hop culture and the music that the students love so much nowadays. Like every time you turn around, they're whipping and neighing, they're doing this, they're doing that, hitting with the folks, this little thing, whatever that is. But I thought it would grab their attention. And then there's also extra credit opportunity here as well, because I ask my students that after they look through this video, they can use whatever genre of music they would like to use and create their own song for a recipe that they love and present it to the class. If you do so, that's an extra credit opportunity. Duets are allowed, groups are allowed, soloists are allowed, but no profanity at all. That's the only thing would not be allowed here, but I thought that would be something that would be awesome for our kids to do in the classroom. So basically, yeah, that's just let me see. Yep, that's everything that I want to go over on my lesson plan template. Everything else has been split up from the materials needed, the equipment needed, or price range, price check, whatever. All that is has been attached into different folders or whatnot. And like I said, I just want to sit down and talk to you guys first. We got 45 minutes. When you see me again, I will have been switched over to a t-shirt. I do want to let you know I'm at home, so I will not have on the full gear of an apron, but I probably will cover my hair with like a satin cap or something. And just coming to the kitchen, I'm going to go ahead and measure everything out. And I will be back with you guys, and we'll get to making this honey bun cake, and I will talk to you from there. Hi, I'm back, and I am in the kitchen, you guys. I do not have on an apron at this moment, but I do have my hair covered and everything. And I just really want to go over the steps it takes to make a honey bun cake. I went ahead and measured everything out, and I wanted to just have it already measured so it wouldn't take me as long and I wouldn't be fumbling around. And also with this video, I will be showing my students how to adjust the recipe just in case you need to make more. For instance, as it says on the super moist box, that this box usually serves around 10, but say I wanted to serve around 20, so that means that I would need to double everything in the recipe. And that is usually the size that I make this cake. I never usually make one box, I always do 2 boxes. So once you do 2 boxes, that means you need to double everything, and I will go through and show you that. But first, I want to start off with the number one safety when you come into the kitchen, and that is washing our hands. Even though I already have, I'm still going to wash them again. Thank you. Just give me a moment. And it's something that I learned back when I was doing some medical training. And that's my oven that I've already preheated for 350. Just give me one moment. Yeah, we're going to press that and get my hands all dried up nice and neat. But one thing that I learned about washing my hands back when I was in medical school was that we, using the ABC song, singing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way through to Z. And next time, I want you to sing with me. will be a sufficient amount of time to wash your hands. But as I mentioned, I had already washed my hands, removed my rings and things, but I wanted to do it again just to demonstrate that because that is important. So I'm going to be doubling everything. So first, right here, if you can see it, I've already added 2 boxes of cake mix. And to this cake mix, this is going to be our wet batter because we do have a dry batter that we have to mix as well. Inside of this, believe it or not, you're not going to use any water. But one box calls for 4 eggs. But I have 2 boxes, so that means I'll need 8 eggs. And I have already put my eggs here in a bowl and stirred them up quite nicely. Beat them with a fork. And I'm just going to add them right on into this container of cake mix. That's 8 eggs, you guys. Then also in this container, we will need to add in vegetable oil, according to what Betty Crocker recipe calls for. But inside my lesson, we will be doing the difference between vegetable oil and butter and seeing if you can taste a difference or notice a difference. And I'm a butter girl. I love my butter, so I substitute the vegetable oil for butter. What I did here was I came back and I kept this sheet, and I don't know if you guys can see it. I want to zoom it in for you guys, but on this stick of butter, it comes, this is what the stick of butter is wrapped in. It'll tell you equivalents. So for instance, it said 2/3 cups of vegetable oil. I would need, it gives me 1/3 cup. So it says that would be equivalent to 5 1/3 teaspoons. So in order for me to have 2/3, I would double that amount, which would be 10 teaspoons and 2/3, 10 2/3 teaspoons. So what I would do would come down here at the bottom, there's 8 of them, so I knew I needed 1 whole stick. Then I came back to another stick, and that will be the 9, 10 2/3 of that one, and make the cut. And then I took that and put it in the oven and melted it down. I'm done with this. I'm gonna throw it away. Once again, I'm gonna re-rinse my hands a little. But yes, butter will be needed here. So this is my cup of butter that I melted. I'm gonna go ahead and add that right in there. Yes, indeed. All right, all my butter's added. And now also in this part, I need sour cream. The 1 box originally calls for 8 ounces of sour cream. However, I will need the 16 because I'm doing 2 boxes. So I'm gonna open this up and put it right in, you guys. Let me grab a spoon and just add that right on in there, all of it. I think sour cream makes everything better, it seems like, even a cake. Oh, another thing about the eggs, you guys, I know not too long ago, I was living, well, I still live on a farm, but we no longer have chickens. But we had chickens, and if you're using chicken, like fresh chicken eggs, you have to be careful with those. You have to make sure that you want to rinse the outside out really good and make sure that you don't rinse it too hard because the shell could be soft or whatnot. But you know, there's a lot of different pathogens and feces on the outside of those eggs, so you want to make sure they're washed off really good. And then something else that I would suggest when you're using farm eggs, which they're the best to me, actually. They make the some of the best cakes, like goose eggs, hen eggs, but you might want to like crack them individually in a cup to get a good look at them first before you add them to a cake, because you don't want to go adding eggs to a cake and then you look down and you see a spot of blood, which I know they say if you cook something well done you should be fine, but I just don't want a bloody egg in my cake. So that's something that you might want to do if you're using fresh eggs as well. Alright, so everything has been added to this bowl for the wet ingredient mixture. All we have to do now is to mix, and I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Pull out my tube. I went ahead and had stuff out, you guys, because like I said, I didn't want to be losing my time to me just rambling around like a chicken with my head cut off in my video. So, wait a minute. Sometimes this thing acts funny. This is embarrassing. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're ready to go. I'm gonna start off slow because I don't want ingredients flying everywhere and all over my camera and computer. And you're gonna beat it and beat it, and you wanna try to make sure you get all the lumps out. Oh yeah. Nice and thick. Not let the cord get in there. I want to make a mess. Now this looks nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is turn this thing down, put my hand in front of it. Oh yeah. And it comes out just like that. Awesome. Thank God for electric beaters, because there's no telling how long that would have took me for real. Okay, so look at that. All nice and smooth, and it just looks good. It smells good. It smells good. Yes, indeed. So here, this is my brown sugar. The recipe called for 1 cup, but we have to double that, so I need 2 cups. As you can see, one of them is still in the shape of the cup that I use, the cup measure, which this is how it should look if you measure your brown sugar correctly. You should always press it firmly in the cup to get an accurate measurement. And this is my brown sugar. So it's 2 cups of brown sugar here. We needed 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, but I need 4 for my cake, so I use 4. This is ground cinnamon. I'm gonna dump it right in here on that. These are the dry ingredients. All right. Then pecans. They asked for 1/3 cup of pecans. However, if you are one of the group that are not doing pecans, you act like you don't hear me in this step. You don't add any pecans. You don't need any pecans. All you would need is this mixture. Mix it together, and this will be your middle layer of your cake. However, I love pecans. My family loves pecans. No one has a nut allergy here, so I'm safe today to use pecans. And I'm not going to measure these pecans because I love pecans. We like lots of pecans. Most of the time people ask me to add more pecans. So this is a small amount. This is about, what, 4 ounces of pecans. And I'm going to add every single last one of them. I am. I'm going to drop them right here on top. Just like that. And they're already chopped. How about that? But for the class, I probably will let them, that's a whole nother thing. If you want to shell the pecans and all of that and then have to chop them, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of labor. But you can buy pecan halves and then chop those as well. Or like I said, I once had a pecan tree in my yard, so I could go outside and get all the pecans I want. But due to the storm back in 2016, that is no longer. So I have to buy my pecans like everybody else. So I go to I went to Walmart and I found a good sale, Great Value brand. So don't sleep on it. But yes, this is everything right here in the dry mixture. I'm getting ready to get a little spoon, just beat it together, or a little fork to help break up some of the brown sugar. So I just take a fork and kind of like just go in there and stir it all around and chop, kind of like do a little ninja chop across. And just keep stirring it and keep stirring it until you got like a good mixture of pecans and brown sugar and cinnamon. And then it seems like your brown sugar will get darker because it has a darker color of cinnamon. And plus I use light brown sugar. It's getting a little warm in here, you guys, because I have the oven on, and I could definitely feel it. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. But that's what happens when you get in the kitchen, huh? But yeah, so I just keep on stirring this up, you guys. I just want to really toss it around really good and try to get an evenness of cinnamon, brown sugar, pecans. Yes, but I'm stirring this up a little bit, and that's just my middle layer, you guys. Boom. And you know what? We almost about finished already before we get ready to put the cake in the oven. Can you believe it? Yes, indeed. Okay, I already had greased my pan, you guys. I sprinkled a little flour in there. This is a large pan, I know. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bigger spoon. Well, I dropped something. But a spoon. No, that's not the one I want. I want the one without the hose. Yes, a bigger spoon. It's a little down from where I washed it. I'm going to get a bigger spoon. And you have to be careful, you guys, when you layer, because you want to have enough to go from one layer of wet cake to the dry ingredients all on one level, and then another layer of the wet cake batter. So you have to be careful when you're doing this first layer. You don't want to use so much on the first layer that you don't have enough to go across the top. Trust me, I think this is the problem for most people who try to make this cake. They always say, them layers, they get on my nerves. Like, I don't know what happened. The layers get me every time. And they will get you every time, you guys. Excuse me, I'm running out of counter space. I'm just trying to spread it out and see what I got in here first before I do that. Because this cake, like I said, is really thick. It's thick and it doesn't use any water. It's able to wetten itself up just with the use of the eggs and sour cream, basically, and butter. But I'm gonna take and like put a good glob in every corner. I already did the middle, you guys, and I hate that you really can't see it all the way, but I'm doing it. I'm my own cameraman. It's a little hard, I must say, a little bit when you ain't got your help. Ooh, that's gonna be good. Exactly, that worked out perfect. My voice, between the pollen, the weather, my husband, my voice comes and goes. It really does. That's why I took a while to do my lab demonstration. I keep putting my computer back on so I can see my little notes behind it. But I keep waiting to do my kept waiting to do it because I thought my voice would be better by now. But it goes. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Okay, I am safe to say that I want to do like another little dab. Like here and there. Because I have some spots where I can still see a little bit of the pan. You just don't want to be able to see like the grayness or the silverness of your pan coming through it. So you know it got covered. And you know cake rises. I'm getting tongue twisted, you guys. But yeah, it rises, so it doesn't need to be. But that's the first layer, as you see. A layer. Okay. Cake batter. I still have plenty, and that's great because that's going to be needed for the top. What I do now is I come back over and I go in and I sprinkle, you guys. Your hands are clean. Don't get a touch of food. I'm just going to sprinkle mine like that because I don't want it to be like too much of a layer. So I go in and you sprinkle it across. All of this has to be gone, you guys. This is needed. This is your complete second layer of a honey bun cake. Just want to go through and try to make sure that I get around the edges and everything, because I want my layers to be visible, but I just don't want any cake batter to be left, you guys. You don't want to be showing any of it to be showing after you spread this. This is your good cinnamon brown sugar layer, and you know that's good. It's just straight sugar and cinnamon and nuts. So yeah. It's a little technique I always had just to get around the sides of the edges. It's almost like planting some seeds in the garden. And that's what I'm doing now, planting some seeds from my students so they can learn and grow. It smells good already. It didn't even been in the oven yet. Yeah. Oh my god, my video is running over a little bit later. It said I only had about 15 minutes, so if it cuts off, you guys, just know that I'm going to put another layer on of this, and you'll be back with I'll be back with the finished product when it comes out the oven. We're going in at 350. I'm going to put it on about 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. I'm going to come back when I do the toothpick test and do the icing with you guys as well. This will give me a chance to clean up my kitchen and work area in between. But I can't believe it let me record that long. I know the first clip I had only let me do about 12 minutes, but the longer the better. So I'm going back in with this next layer, you guys, right on top of that. As you can see, I don't want to spread that too much because you see it starting to get some on the spoon, the cinnamon. So I'll drop in the corner again, just like I did the bottom layer, each corner. A big blob. Yep. And I'll keep doing that all across the cake until I can just nicely and neatly spread that. I did this just right, you guys. I had enough for mine. And then again, you know, the bottom layer might be so thin that it's not really visible. I make some like that too, but nonetheless, they're always good. Yeah, guys, I want all of my cake batter, all of it. I'm gonna drop that right here. I'll probably still be scraping out that, you guys. And you just go through and try to spread it. Stick to the spoon, so you have to be careful because you don't want to pull up your brown sugar, cinnamon, pecan mixture either. But it will stick to this cake mix easily if you're not careful when you're doing your spreading. Gotta turn my 10. Who gonna help me eat all this cake? Y'all are welcome. I'm sure to get going. My dad can usually finish it off by himself. He'll eat half of the cake by himself. And this is a large cake. So, and a lot of times if I make one for a family function, I always have to make one and leave it at the house. Because if not, my father, he'd be like, you took all that cake to the thing. And I'd be like, yeah, Dad. I'm like, no, it's one in the oven. And he'd be like, oh, I was getting ready to say. But yeah, he loves his cake. It's really good. So I'm gonna finish. I do have a little bit that got over because I'm trying to spread before my video cuts off on you guys and possibly show you what it looks like. Come on, baby. Go ahead. That's right, baby. Spread out right. Okay. It's not the best. I do have a couple brown spots where it did pick up, but that's what it looks like. And I'm getting ready to go and put it in the oven now. And I will be back with you guys with the toothpick test and to show you how to make the icing that goes on top. The icing is great to go on top when the cake is still hot. So I'm going to put it in about 30-35 minutes and I'll be back. Thank you for tuning in. Golden brown. Perfection. Yes, indeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm dropping stuff out my drawer. I'm going to take a toothpick. You guys, I had some in this drawer. This one. And I'm just going to take this toothpick and stick it in and make sure that there's nothing coming off. If so, I will need to put my cake back in. This toothpick just messed up, you guys. It's split. That's not going to be a good... That's not going to be a good demonstration. One moment. Okay, let's try it again. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That was a bad toothpick. But anyway, I just go through and it comes back out clean like that, you guys. If it comes out clean, you know that you're finished and your cake is well done and cooked through all 3 layers and stuff. And I just go through and poke holes all over my cake. One, you want to make sure all sides, sometimes the outside may be done, but the middle is still soft. But also, I do this because when I do my icing while this cake is hot, I like to have it so my icing can drip right on down into the cake. It makes it even better. So anyway, I've done that with my toothpick, and I'll dispose of that later, you guys. This thing is not all that hot. But also, when you get them out of the oven, don't forget your oven mitts, because it is hot. Right now it's cooled off a little bit because I had to get the other video uploaded before I could come back and do this one. So it's a little bit cooler now. I don't really need these anymore. But yeah, I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to show you guys the icing. So the icing called for 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a tablespoon of milk. However, because like I said, I'm doing double, I would need 2 cups of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of milk. But this is the thing about milk, you guys. I do have my little measurers here. This is 1 tablespoon here, this size. And I'm going to just put 2 in and see what it gets me. Usually 2 is not, the milk measurement is usually one thing that's kind of off too. Where it's not quite. That's 1. And this is 2. I add some milk in a cup because I know I'm most likely going to need more. But I can go ahead and start stirring up. And you'll see it starts to dissolve down and become like really smooth and creamy. And everybody knows what icing looks like. Kind of like that, the icing on a Bowberry biscuit, same thing. The icing on a pound cake, same thing. Icing on a lemon cake, same thing, but it might not be vanilla extract, and still it may be lemon extract. Vanilla is one of the most common extracts that I use within my household. But if you go to my mother's house, she's known for having lemon extract, orange extract, the whole works. And as you say, with that 2 tablespoons, it's getting clumpy. That's not going to be enough milk for me, you guys. So, like I said, you may have to use more milk. So I'm just going to do tablespoons so I can probably give you a number of tablespoons, a correct number. I added 2 more tablespoons of milk. I think that this may do it. So instead of 2 tablespoons, we may need 4. Yeah, we need 4. That's what it is, you guys. Because you want this to be, put my whip game in the kitchen whip, cook it like a stir fry. Sorry, no, but it gets a little bit more. That's a little bit more what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go back and let's go down to a 1/2 tablespoon of milk, because I really just need a little bit more, because I want it to be like a little bit more runny than that. It's a consistency that I'm looking for here with my icing, and that's gonna do it, you guys. 4, so it's 4.5 tablespoons of milk. Really, that's what it is. See? And then you get that right there, you guys. That's what you want to see, because that's how icing looks when it comes out the thing. If you have a little instrument to squirt it out, it looks kind of like that. And I'm going to stir it just to make sure I got all the little clumps and lumps and stuff out of it of sugar, because there's still some sugar around the edges here. But either way, if it clumps and lumps, it's sugar, and it can be eaten. But I just kind of like mine to be a little bit more smoother than that. Whew, it's hot in this kitchen, you guys. Just turned the oven off. Okay, I'm gonna bring my cake back, and this is what you're gonna just dump it all over the cake. Now, some people, they get one of those little tubes where they squirt it out nice and even and stuff like that, and let it drizzle across. I'm not sure if you guys can see that right there, but you know, you do a lot of drizzling and it starts to look like that. But or you drizzle back and forth and stuff like that. But my family, they like a lot of icing, you guys. So me, I'm more of a I dump all over top and just spread. But it depends. If you're not trying to have too much icing, you could do a drizzle like that, honey bun cake. But because I like icing, And no, that's not sanitary. So let me wash my hands. But yeah, it ran off the edge of the bowl. I didn't want to hit the floor. But yes, indeed. Just wash that hand there. I just dump. That's what I like. Who else likes that? I just dump. That's what I do. I wish you guys could see a little bit. Oh, that's better. Yes. And I just dump. And dump and dump and dump. More icing. That's how I use all the icing, and I come back across and I just spread it on out like real icing all over the cake. And you don't want this icing to be too thick, you guys, because you do want it to come back and crystallize. I'm not sure if it's going to crystallize by the time this video is over, but maybe through my little bit of talking, it may go ahead and crystallize, you guys. But what it'll do, it will crystallize on top. And it'll look like a little glazed donut, basically. How a glazed donut looks. That's what I mean by crystallizes. And I'm gonna come over here and get me a paper plate, you guys. And I want to create more dishes that I already have. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing. She's starting to crystallize already, if you can see. She's still a little runny, but she is starting to crystallize, no doubt. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut me a slice, you guys, so you can just see. I want to see what the layers look like. I really do. And plus, once my dad finds out that I cooked one for this class project, once he finds that out, it is not going to stand a chance. But I'm just going to go ahead and take off a corner piece, you guys. I'm hoping that, oh yeah, I may be able to get this thing out without tearing the layer all up. Oh yes, perfect. The layer goes down a little bit, as you see in that corner, but from the back side, you can see the layer or whatnot. The layer is there, but this one kind of goes down, as you see. I wasn't the perfect, because like I was saying earlier in the video, that you have to be cautious with doing the first layer, because you don't want to add too much and not have enough to finish the top. But it also, you could tell which layer had the most. So my top layer had the most. But that's the hardest part of this cake to get, like, to do, is to get a perfect even line all the way across. And that's something that if my students are able to do, I probably throw in some extra credit points, because it's very hard to do. And that's something that I was looking for in the appearance at the end with their evaluation. So appearance would be the golden brown. Do your icing crystallize? Are you able to see 3 visible layers of cake? And I am. The smell of the cake, which it smells like a honey bun. It really does. You can smell the cinnamon, it's in the air, the sugars, all of that. What else I say? The taste, of course, is what I'm about to do now. When you take a bite, is it moist? Is it, oh my God, is it dry? It's definitely not, but it's so good, you guys. And I really wish I could just put it through this computer and share it with you, but I can't. But it is amazing. That's amazing. Now look, that's a better look. When I started eating it, you can see a better layer. So you see the layer, the wet layer we had, the middle dry layer, and the top layer. Thank you for the lab demonstration project.
The power of sin and darkness, whose love is done for me. Who brings our chaos back into order? Who makes the orphan a son and daughter? The King of glory, the King of glory, who rules the nations with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all of its brilliance. The King of glory, the King above all kings. Yeah, this is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy